The number one thing that stopped me from being brave and courageous as a freelancer and really thriving and enjoying the experience was my own anxiety and panic about money and the fear of being out of control of how much I was going to earn, not knowing what my minimum day rate needed to be, not knowing how many days a week I should or could be working. So that's why, right at the top of the FREELA model, the first letter F stands for finances. It's because it's the thing that I wanted to put at the bottom of my to-do list, and yet it was the number one thing that was stopping me from really getting on. The first thing is to get in your mind that you need to plan your panic, because the reality is there will be highs and lows in freelance. You don't have the steady income that you might have had if you were employed. That bank account doesn't magically go up once a month. It's about what you're bringing in. And that's pretty scary, or it can be if you feel out of control. So to feel in control and to be able to plan your panic, you need to do a number of things. You need to establish your baseline income. You need to have a think about what your working year realistically could be and also what you want it to be. There's a balance between those two. You need to have a think about, from that, what your minimum day rate can be. And that's combined with understanding what your no work buffer is. And finally, I'd like to remind you to have a tax pot so that when you need to send some money off, you have some stashed away. I'll talk you through it. So the first part of planning your panic is to get to grips with your baseline needs for the year. So that's going to establish the baseline income that you need to bring in to cover your outgoings. So what I did was I grabbed my bank statements and my credit card statements. So much easier, you can grab them online, and build a very simple spreadsheet of what I spend on a monthly basis. So having a look at anything from costs that happen once a month to things that happen once a year, like insurances and so on. Once I've written that down, I also added in a little bit of fun social budget because let's face it, you've got to live. So don't just cut yourself off into a world of boiled lentils and boiled onions, right? You're going to eat well, you're going to live well, you're going to have some holiday. Maybe not the extravagant holiday you are going to have once you're really thriving at freelancing, but at the moment establish yourself a baseline outgoings, and that will tell you what you need to bring in. Well, almost. You then need to add in a little factor for tax. So once you've worked out what your outgoings are, multiply it, have a look at what that would be based on the current tax thresholds, and then multiply it by 1.3 or 1.4, whatever your income's likely to be. Once you've done that, you'll have a figure, a lump sum per month, or multiply it by 12 per year that you need to earn. Right, so you've got a baseline income. So the next thing to do is to have a think about what you want your working year to look like. When I first started freelancing, I had a very young baby. So in a week, my baby slept in the morning and the afternoon, so I totted up the number of hours that I could realistically actually concentrate on work. And that worked out between 2 and 3 days, obviously spread over 5 days a week. I also want to be able to take some holiday during the year, so I needed to take those weeks off. So that's what you want it to look like. And then you need to add in the no work buffer. And this is because there's no way you're going to be working automatically every week that you want to work. So this is taking a dose of realism of how many weeks a year are you likely to pick up work. So you combine what you want to do as a working year with what's realistic. And I ended up deciding that it was realistic that I would be able to work 40 weeks a year for 2 to 3 days a week. Now, of course, that means if I picked up some work, or if I picked up a week's work and managed to manage that around childcare, then I didn't need to work 40 weeks a year, 2 to 3 days a week. That might be 39 weeks and so on. So you can adjust it. But that was what I thought was a realistic start point. And it also means if I pick up no work, then I'm still in the buffer zone and I'm not feeling like I'm putting enormous pressure on myself. Right, okay, so you've now got your baseline income needs plus a tax factor, and you have an idea of the number of days a year that you think you want to work and is realistic you're going to work. So once you've got those two figures, you can do a little math sum, and that'll give you your survival, your minimum day rate. Now, you don't have to tell anybody what your minimum day rate is. It's just handy to have in your back pocket. So when you're in negotiations about a new job with a new client that you've not worked for, you're not tried and tested, you know that's the lowest that you could go to and still live the life that you've worked out that you want to do. It's also really handy when family and friends very kindly offer you opportunities. You have a conversation and say, look, I won't charge you my full rate, but I do have a minimum day rate that I can go to. With clients, I don't tell people what my minimum day rate is. It is just there so that I know in negotiations when I'm going too close to the bone that's going to impact and cause me to have some of that panic. And the one final tip I've got for you is that when you've got money coming in, sweep a chunk of it. For me, I sweep 40 to 50% of it into a savings account, an easy access savings account, so that I have a tax buffer that I can go to. Once I've paid my tax, I know I've got a little bit extra in there so that I can use it to treat myself or to build up my buffer for the next year. Okay, so F is for finances, and finances for me are all about planning your panic. And to do that, you establish your minimum income needs, your basic income needs for the year ahead, plus a tax factor. You also then think about how many days a year you realistically are going to work and how many you want to work. From that, you can work out your minimum day rate. And then once you're starting to earn that, you can have a no work buffer as well, so you know if you're not getting money coming in. And you scoop some of that income as it comes in into an easy access savings account so that you can pay your tax. This is the first of 6 videos that delve deeper into the FREELA model. If you want a top line summary of what the FREELA model is about, click on the link below.